their door so that focus his attention to the chat so that he's responding. Him and Victoria.
There's campus. Put their light on.
Are we ready now?
Yes.
Aziz, you need to come and pass so that I can start. Okay, I'm going. Daniel, please, no noise. I'm waiting for your signal.
Yeah, come.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay. I see we're still muted. I'm not sure. Are we? Are we muted?
Yes. No, I'm muted.
Ah, okay. Good morning, dear esteemed online guests, my colleagues in the room, my amazing distinguished speakers. I am so sorry. My apologies that we're starting a bit late. This year's theme is digital, and somehow technology we are greatly relying on, but we haven't gotten there yet, especially in Nigeria, and that's one of the reasons why we're actually talking about digital. That's why one of the reasons we're making sure that this conversation addresses some of the things that we need to know and learn. Embrace technology and not be afraid of technology, so to speak. Embrace it and see how we can better make use of it, because it's a game changer in today's world, and especially in our real estate space. So thank you so much for joining us. Sorry we're starting a bit late, but it promises to be really insightful and educative, and please stay with us. Okay, so I'll go straight into a few of the things I've noted down here before I introduce my speakers. My name is Ichechi Okonkwo, and I'm the CEO of Victoria Crest Homes. As a woman in the real estate industry, I experienced firsthand some of the challenges that we have in this male-dominated landscape, and that's why we're seated here today to discuss some of them, and together we can learn from the experiences of everyone seated here today, their journeys, insights, and we can empower each other. Quickly, I'm going to share a few statistics. According to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, women make up only 21% of the workforce in the real estate sector in Nigeria. This shows a clear underrepresentation and parity in the industry. The gender gap is even more pronounced in leadership roles, both in public and private sector, as women hold fewer leadership positions. And according to a survey by Redan, which is the Real Estate Development Association of Nigeria, and AFRES, African Real Estate Society, the representation of women in executive and board position in real estate companies in the country is around 14–15%, showing still a very huge gender gap. These statistics paint a bleak picture of the representation of women in Nigerian real estate, and will form a backdrop of our discussion for today. A lot of women we see are still struggling currently in the industry without a community to rely on, mentorship, support, and guidance opportunities. This roundtable was birthed with the intent to discuss some of these challenges and how we can build enabling communities where women can support each other, where we can hold our hands, where we can grow and thrive together in the industry. Today's discussion, like I said earlier, promises to be very insightful, very inspiring, as we highlight some of these parity issues and our critical roles in embracing equity and building better communities. As well as you all, I am looking forward to a very interesting conversation today, new ideas, new perspectives, and then of course at the end, a renewed commitment to building more equitable communities. At this point, I'd like to introduce our panelists for today. Some you already know. I will start with my far left, Mrs. Chukwunonso Oyin-Eze. Mrs. Chukwunonso is a Nigerian lawyer who graduated from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka. She has worked in law, banking, and real estate. She is the current CEO of Assist to Sell Properties Limited. Mrs. Nonso, as she's fondly called, is also the founder of the Lady Realtor Series training. The Ladies Realtor Series, training over 1,500 women in real estate. Please join me to welcome Mrs. Chukwunonso. And then next to her is Mrs. Ebere Masoji. Mrs. Ebere is a real estate specialist with experience in property management, sales, leadership, negotiations, and business strategies. She holds a BSc in estate management from Obafemi Awolowo University and an MSc in real estate from Case Business School, London. She has gained significant experience working in the financial services and the mortgage industry and is now the CEO of Dunhill Homes Limited. Join me as we welcome Mrs. Ebere.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And very next to her is Mr. Ayo Olowokere, the gentleman who is our he for she for today. Mr. Ayo has over 2 decades experience in financial services, corporate finance, investments, credits, and banking services. He started his career in KPMG in audit and assurance services unit before moving to the project and real estate finance unit of ARM Investment Managers. He is now the CEO of Imperial Homes Mortgage Bank. Please welcome Mr. Ayo. We have joining us online today 3 of our speakers. For various reasons, they couldn't be here, but they are joining us virtually. I'll first introduce Ms. Tosin Oshinowo. Tosin is an architect and designer known for her socially responsive urbanism and sustainable designs. She is the founder of CM Design Atelier and has worked on notable projects like Maryland Mall. Tosin is also the creator and product designer of Ile Ila Chairs, a luxury brand made in Lagos. She's also the curator of the 2023 Sharjah Architecture Triennial. Sorry about that. Mrs. Funke is also joining us online. Mrs. Funke Kende. Dr. Ambassador Funke Kende is a highly accomplished realtor, CEO of Brilliant Concept Realtors and the president of REMS, a real estate marketing group in Lagos. With over 17 years of experience in real estate marketing, she has mentored and empowered over 7,000 entrepreneurs. Mrs. Funke holds a bachelor's degree in business administration and a second degree in entrepreneurship management from Lagos Business School. And our last guest online is Mrs. Bridget Adeyemi. Mrs. Bridget Adeyemi is the MD/CEO of Lekki Aja Ikoyi Property Investment Limited with a decade experience in real estate sales and marketing, a graduate of University of Lagos, and has also become a real estate property developer. Thank you so much for joining us today, my amazing speakers. I'm going to go right into it because we've lost a bit of time. I'm going to start with one of our online guests so that we keep the participation really engaging. So I'm going to start with Tosin. Can we see Tosin? Yes. Tosin, can you hear me? Hi. Can you unmute Tosin, please? Tosin, you need to unmute yourself. You can't hear me? trying to get Tosin ready, let me take a question with Mrs. Chukunotso. So, ma'am, your career journey spans over 19 years. Please share how transition from law to banking and then to real estate has been for you, and why real estate actually?
Thank you, Mrs. Okonkwo, and thank you for putting this together to mark International Women's Day. My journey, my background is in law, and when I left the Nigerian law school, I sat in a bank, and I started to work in a bank. I worked in a couple of banks, and then the rave was marketing. So as long as you don't have a financial background, I came into banking in the late 90s into the early 2000s. You often found yourself in marketing. So I found myself in marketing and did quite a lot of marketing, both at the branch level and at the national level, which meant I went from branch to branch across Nigeria. I left banking and went back into law because I didn't quite see a career path in banking. I didn't have a background in law, I didn't like figures, like mathematics, I didn't know what I was doing there, and the money was good, but it was time to move on. So I went back to law to brush up my skills. I worked briefly with a few senior advocates before I left to set up my own law practice. I didn't set up my own law practice, but what I kept on getting was anytime I go out to see clients of mine, I kept on getting real estate related briefs. Like, oh, can you do a search for me? Or do you handle properties? Or can you sell a property for me? I need to rent a property. And it began to make sense why I used to see a lot of properties. I used to say, the banners would say, contact the solicitor. And I said, okay, yes, I guess I can do a search for you. I guess I can do this. And before you know it, I was getting more briefs, more real estate related briefs than I was getting legal briefs. And real estate affords you the opportunity to market. There are restrictions in advertising and in marketing if you're a lawyer, a legal practitioner. So I tried to set up a real estate company so I avoid conflict of interest and be able to assist to, and that's how assist to sell properties was better. And we started. Our first project, that's why when I met Mr. Goloke here, I was quite excited and happy because it was part of our very first project. Our first project being Farah Park.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, Farah Park was our first project. Yeah, 2004 was Farah Park, was our very first project, then quickly followed by the widely successful Oduwole urban market inside Lagos Island. And so that was where we started. So all the experience that I have garnered from marketing in the banking sector, I brought it to bear in real estate marketing. And they asked me how it's marketing, and I say that sales and marketing, it's the easiest part of any business. And every business requires some sales, requires marketing. Every business, doesn't matter if you're in the food business, if you're in the hospitality, if you're in real estate, people must know what you do and what you sell, whether it's a product or a service. And I keep telling people that that is the easiest part of the whole value chain. I find it exciting because I like to meet people. I like to be able to deliver value in terms of advising people and helping people to grow some decent real estate portfolio. And along the line, I'm a great student of mentorship and mentoring. So along the line, I went ahead to, I was nominated to attend a program that was funded by the US State Department, where we were mentored by a group of women who are also very successful in America. And when we came back, I kept on hearing when I was in America, under the mentorship program, paid forward. And I was asking, I said, Rhonda, what does it mean to pay forward? And it was simple, that we could bring a whole bunch of you to America to train you. That year it was I, Buki George of Health Plus, and Florence also of Bring Back Our Girls, that were nominated that went to the US. And when you go back, because we can't take all the women in Lagos and train and mentor them like we have done now with you, that we want you to go back and pay it forward by mentoring other women whom we can't reach. Virtually, what they were trying to say is cascade what we have, trained you and mentored you on. And that was how the Lady Realtor Training Series was better. Very impactful and life-changing training series for a lot of women. And the slogan was, get all women on the property ladder. And when we want to get you on the property ladder, we just didn't mean you coming to buy. A lot of women started out on this real estate business, not even owning, but hoping others to buy. And along the line, they kept on saving and putting together their fees and their commissions, which enabled them to be able to have the pool of funds to get onto the property ladder and become property owners. So it's been quite an interesting journey and a career path for me in real estate. I don't see myself doing any other thing else, you know. And so far so good, and I'm grateful to God for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Chibuloso. Wife smiled when she said, service, whatever business requires, because the marketplace is where the money is. And so in whatever business, you also need to make sure that marketing is not neglected. So her banking experience gave her the background that she needed when she set up her real estate business. And then of course, paying it forward is one of the reasons why we're seated here today. With that, she set up the Lady Realtor series to get every woman, to help get every woman up the real estate ladder. And she mentioned something really important, and I'd like to reiterate that. She said that you don't necessarily, more than half the time, you see a lot of women scared of, getting into real estate or getting into, the property business at all, whether be it as an investor or as a property owner. And the major reason is because of finance. But here she has said that, encouraging these women under the Lady Realtor series to sell and earn commissions. Those commissions they now begin to put together to earn themselves that place on the real estate ladder. And so I have articulated, in just a few words, what she has shared, and I think that's simply amazing. So for most of the ladies who are online, who are realtors, you can hear firsthand one of the things that the Lady Realtor series, went out to do to make sure that women empower themselves via the commissions that they earn, and that's brilliant. And so we'll go back to Tosin now, if Tosin is ready. Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Jukunoso. So, Tosin, thank you so much. Can you hear me now? You have to unmute yourself.
Yes, I've given access to him.
You've given her access. Okay, here we have it. Hi, Tosin. You're muted again. Did you lock her right again?
She's supposed to move herself.
He says you should unmute yourself. He has unmuted. You haven't, she's saying you haven't. Are you sure? I can't see the button. Hi, Tosin. She's unmuted now.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Hi, Tosin. Good morning.
Physically. Sorry, I couldn't attend physically. On the building sites, I have a project and we have a challenge, so I had to come back to expect to one for.
That's okay. Thank you so much for joining us. I think you have two devices on at your. Okay. So, I mean, the Bronu project was huge and simply amazing. I must say you have, the credits for that. A lot of people assume women don't lead projects, especially in the North. How did you win Bronu project? Because it depicts sustainability in every ramification, building a community for displaced resilient people. What experiences has that shaped you with? Please share with us.
So much. I think first of all, I think the most important thing there to note is representation. And representation not just for myself, but what people see. I got this project because the UN wanted to approach projects differently. They normally just provide standardized house with no design tends to be done. But because they wanted to provide a solution that was really about that engagement, it was important for them to find somebody who would be able to engage, but also who had the skills required. And I think what was interesting here was it came as a direct mission. Because I had put myself out there, people could see what my skill sets were. When the opportunity arose and they were looking for someone, it was an obvious to contact me, and that's actually how I got the job. I mean, to be honest, it was a little scary initially, but the reality is that it's not a place that doesn't come without security challenges, and I know my family were also very concerned about me going up to work. But I had the security of working with the UN and the structures system we had in place, and that made it much easier to be able to go in and to achieve the project that I did. I was very humbled by the experience, and also very aware that even within Nigeria, there is such limited equity. In terms of the women that I spoke to in the community, it wasn't uncommon when I speak to the community to speak to the men first and then to speak to the women separately. There was no kind of connection to. But we also have to appreciate and respect that there are also cultural and religious differences. But as an experience, I guess the fact that I went to the UN, I was already on the platform that basically came from the human work, but it was a humbling experience. It was a lot of work and it was very stressful. And to be honest, sometimes I did question why I was doing it. For one, yes, I was being paid, but two, knowing that your actions have an influence on others. And like I said, representation is important. The same way that I'm able to put myself out there to do this job, it's the same way that people will see this and know that it's possible. And I think with all these things, once people see, once something has been achieved, it's no longer difficult. And, for me to be able to go as a Nigerian from Lagos to go to the north, to do a project of that scale, about 500 displaced from a community displaced to the Boko insurgency. The region that I have no prior experience. I don't know anyone. I'm supposed to do this job and doing well. Which involves every 2 weeks traveling to Borno, which is also very difficult. It's a 1 hour to Abuja. There's always a delay of maybe 2-3 hours, another 1 hour shift. It's a whole day travel. It was very stressful. To get to a site that we need additional space to get to for a 2-hour meeting. And you start the journey back. It takes a level of commitment, but I think it's important to show people, not just as a woman, but as a professional, that you can do things properly. And set the bar as a reference for other people to follow. I don't have 2 heads. I was in the right place at the right time. I had the skills required, training necessary to do the job. But the most important thing is that I have created a representation point that many other people can follow and see that it's not possible. It's just hard work, tenacity, and drive. And that's all you need to do.
Thank you so much, Tosin. I feel so proud. Can you hear me? Okay, so I'll just go on. I feel so proud listening to you because, like I rightly said earlier, the North is one of those places that a lot of people really don't think that women can lead the way, and you did it, and you did it effortlessly. We didn't see all the stress that you're talking about, by the way, because you brought passion to table, you brought the whole of you, and that was really amazing. You highlighted some points that you didn't know anyone, you didn't have to do anything. UN identified you because you were qualified, you had the skill set, even though you had to put it out there. So I'd like to say at this point that a lot of women second guess themselves. We still have that imposter syndrome lurking around a lot of women. And if we're able to address that, some of those opportunities that we allow slip, we would actually take them and we'll excel at them. And you also mentioned that you were committed, you were resilient, and you delivered. And so you have, created a ref point for other women, and that goes to speak to pulling others along with you as you go. And I'm sure the women in Borno would have been really inspired by a woman coming into the community and doing 500 displaced homes. That's huge. I must congratulate you again for that feat, and thank you for setting the path for others to follow. Okay, so we'll come to Madam Abi now. I'd like to ask, I remember you at GT Mortgage, and then you went to Imperial Mortgage, and then to real estate marketing, and then of course to setting up your own property development company now. What motivated you, to take this leap?
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for putting up this. I always considered the growth mindset very important. As a woman, you must grow. So I sit down, started my career. I've always had this mindset that I must grow. And in growing, I always review my processes. I have worked here, I look at how much have I achieved, what are my goals, what are my aspirations, then I take the next move. For me, it's always going back to look at how the process will work. I started my career right from, first of all, I have a first degree in estate management. And I always like to point this. When I wanted to take my JAM form, my dad is an architect. So I come from a family where we have construction people. My dad said, Abi, you must study estate management because of your 5% commission. So he was very, very specific. So I filled my JAM form saying, I'm going to study estate management and I'm going to sell properties. So while I was in university, I knew I was going to sell properties. But I along the line, like she rightly said, I came out of university, everybody was working in the bank. So that was the in thing there. So I got distracted, so you can say, I must get into the bank. But at the end of the day, that's where passion still lies. I love properties, I love to sell properties. And I decided that, okay, you know what, I think I need to go back to my first love. So I always think, go back. And that growth mindset has helped me in my journey. Working in Imperial was a fantastic place, I got to meet a lot of developers. So in my growth mindset, experience is very key. So it's good to work, gain this experience, because this experience is what will drive you in your own business. So I have seen people fail, I have seen people succeeded, and I have asked myself, why did they fail? And why did this man succeed? I look at every the cons. Even for women, a lot of women have said, how do you cope? There's a home front, there's a business front. How do you manage it? And that's where resilience is coming. Tosin said something which I always say, the men don't even have two heads. One head we all got. And I asked myself, sincerely speaking, we can make it work as a woman. There are a lot of challenges, no doubt. We have these challenges, even as a woman. Your baby is going to be calling you home, your husband is going to be calling you home. But as a woman, I also tell myself, I must make it happen. And that's what drives me. So you must have your inner drive. What drives you? What motivates you? So those are the push. Nobody's going to tell me less. Because I've got my inner drive, I've got my growth mindset. I must see myself growing. So for me, I couldn't have stayed so long in any place. I must move. So what's the next phase? What's the next line? I've worked in this company. I need a change. I need to grow. And I must see that I am growing. You know, so if I check back, I don't think I'm growing. Maybe no promotion, nothing. I must ask myself, what do I need to do? Even before I started working in career homes, I told myself, maybe it's time for me to go to school. I had to go and do my master's. I had to leave everything, drop everything, go and learn. So I took learning. It was a good process for me. Learning. Then I worked with developers, key developers in the industry. You can't take that experience from me anymore because I've learned the business. Then I told myself, you know, even for women, I love to work with women. When I see women in the industry, I am super, super excited. You know, whether we like it or not, there are stereotypes, there are people that are going to put you down as a woman, but your resilience power is it's one of its kind. So once you have that, and even the men, once they see that you are very, very resilient, they tend to like, oh yeah, I think she's got something. And at the end of the day, you get your business in your hand. It's actually a very, very challenging world, challenging industry. Even in Africa, Africa has its own dynamics, Nigeria has its own dynamics, but as women, we must be very resilient in our business, we must be innovative, we must do it differently. And at the end of the day, it has helped me in my journey, it has helped me in my career, it has helped me to build even the business and the passion. So for me, it has to do with also passion. I'm so passionate about real estate as a business. And another thing I also have looked, we shared it before we started this meeting. Most people they see a single man and you give them houses easily. But when a woman comes in, she's single, you start putting sentiment towards it. Why would you want to give your house to a single woman? And for me, I think it's we women that can change these things. We can change narratives. So for us, for me, those are the kind of things that made me say, you know what, I will be passionate about real estate and I would encourage women to come into the real estate space, to come into the real estate field. Everybody needs a home. You can't take that one. Everybody needs a roof over its head. And women, we need to stand in that gap. So those are the things that have driven me to say, you know what, as a woman, I must be a successful real estate person. I must make it because I will be helping other women. So for me, when women come to me, they need a house, one hand, I give it to them. Because I know that probably they meet a man, he would look down on them. I had a case yesterday and I was super sad. The man said, we're not giving that house to this woman. Why? She's single. And I'm like, no, that's not nice. You know, so it happens a whole lot. So I think that space must change too, even for the men. You don't look at a woman and just totally just put her down because she's a woman. So I like what Mrs. Ichechi is doing, bringing women together to see that we can make a difference even in the real estate space, and change the narratives that has been in the past.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ewi. Before I highlight some of your points, I'd like to mention that Mr. Ayo here is seated with us so that at the end of these discussions, he can take it to his boys' clubs and those tables where we sit together and talk about these things that we are seeing as major challenges, the disparities that we feel, and he can be our voice. So it wouldn't have been nice to have only ladies talking to ourselves. So he's here to help us go re-echo our voice where it should be re-echoed. The importance of equity we cannot overemphasize. It has been looking for a really long time, and it's going to take us, according to statistics, it's going to take us over 132 years to actually achieve equity. I don't know if that will happen in our lifetime, but then we're seated here because we're trying to make sure that we do our part, on that journey to 132 years, so to speak. Thank you again. You mentioned growth mindset is what has taken you to where you are today. Your dad kept putting it in your head as a young girl that you needed to do real estate and earn 5% commission. Well, money is always a very interesting enigma, and it formed that this thing in your mind and kept pushing you to want more, to dream more, and you went from your real estate background to banking, and then passion. The power of passion also is what we see at play in your story. So the same way Mrs. Chukun also had to go back to her passion because she wasn't finding fulfillment in the banking industry. So you too, and then you went and you found your feet. And today you're doing amazing, and you have talked about looking at other people who have excelled in the industry, looking at what has worked for them and trying to apply those to yourself. And then of course, innovation, resilience, and that inner drive, the learning mindset has played the key role in defining or shaping the woman that you have eventually become today in the real estate space. Thank you so much. I'd like to, Mr. Ayo will come to you. I'd like to now come to Mrs. Funke, Ambassador Dr. Funke, who is joining us online too. Can we unmute her? Hi, ma'am.
And happy is not every woman in the house. Let's celebrate ourselves, please.
Thank you so much. Happy International Women's Day to you. Thank you so much for being a part of this today. It would really be, it wouldn't really be complete without us sharing from your wealth of knowledge and experience. And so we are very happy that you're here, even though you're busy where you are, but you took out time to be a part of this, and that we appreciate. So I'd like to ask you your first question right away. With your wealth of experience, you thought to create a platform that mentors people on how to do real estate the right way. This platform is called Real Estate Millionaires. Can you share some insights into the challenges that women face in the real estate industry and how your platform helps to address these challenges?
All right, thank you, everybody. I want to say thank you, madam, for putting this together. I'm excited to be here. There's a popular saying that what a man can do, 90% of the time, we women do it better. Right or right?
Right.
Okay. Women have our challenges, especially in business, especially in a male-dominated industry like real estate. A lot of times people think, oh, real estate is a man's job, construction is a man's job, what's a woman doing there? But thankfully, gradually, women are beginning to change the narrative. You find out that in most real estate companies now, either in the construction business, in the brokerage business, you see women leading the charts, you see women taking the front row, you see women doing their thing and doing it well. As a matter of fact, from my own experience, I tend to trust women more when it comes to real estate transactions. Now, to your question, yes, I'm the president of Real Estate Millionaires, a large real estate company, a large real estate platform, teaching realtors, people that want to sell real estate, the right way to do it. in real estate. One of them is mentorship. A lot of women do not have the right mentors. They don't have the right access to the right mentorship. A lot of women also suffer from low self-esteem based on maybe their past experience in family or in life. Now, that is one of the things that REM stands for. We try our best to ensure that we give you, the woman, and of course men, but we're talking the mentorship that you need. We hold trainings every week, both Zoom, online classes, and physical classes at our head office, where we teach you strategies on how to sell. This also gives you confidence on how to talk to a client when you see a client. You're not seeing a client and you're fidgeting, or you don't know what to say. These are topics that we discuss in our trainings. We also do free inspections for all our properties. We have a large range of properties that are under our platform. These are verified properties that our lawyers, because we also have lawyers too on our board of directors, our lawyers are verified and confirmed that yes, these properties are good to go. They've done their due diligence. So we take that burden of going through the stress of looking for a lawyer to verify the property for you. We also do that for you, for our members. So we also offer free inspection. So it's not a case of, oh, I don't know where the properties are, or oh, I don't have money to take the client for inspection, I don't have money for transportation. Once you are a member of our platform, all of that is not a problem anymore. So we help you to take your client, to take you to the properties, to the locations, free of charge. Another challenge that women have, and this is not just real estate, in every sector, is safety. Women are very, very vulnerable, right? So another thing that we do is, when you're a member of REMS, we take you for inspections, we have our driver with you, we have our tour guide and fixed manager with you all the way. We also have our business development manager with you on inspection, so that there is no way you will not feel safe. Your safety for us. So these are some of the ways that we try to ensure that women overcome the challenges that they have in real estate. We do more. I'm just trying to summarize the little of what we do. And another challenge that women have is gender inequality, which thankfully that is gradually being eradicated. But right now, anybody, either you're a man or a woman, you can sell real estate. And like I said, check well, if you look at the history of real estate, in the past 2-3 years, women have been able to take the role. They've been able to take the top league in real estate. Now, another problem that people experience in business has always been inequality of payment, salaries, commissions, remuneration. That does not also happen anymore in real estate. Because either you're a man or you're a woman, the woman that sells the property gets the same percentage that a man sells. So there's no more gender inequality and there's no more inequality in remuneration. So these are some of the things that my platform, which is REMS, has done to ensure that women overcome their challenges.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Funke. Thank you for sharing, how you have been able to ensure that women build more confidence, especially during their career path in the real estate industry. Because what you have done with REMS is basically first build confidence for women, because with that they can, conquer any other thing, any other fear that they have. First, you've talked about 90% of the time women do better than men in those activities that they always think it's a man's world and men can do, it can only be done by men. But we're beginning to see that women can do it 90% better in those spaces. Then you've talked about changing the narrative, especially with equity. Before, it used to really be, just men running things from development to brokerage to, everything in the real estate space. But with women like you championing the cause and ensuring that women have more exposure, you build the confidence that they need, the right mentorship, you build their self-esteem, you give them training and strategies on how to actually sell. And then, of course, you you ensure that their safety is paramount because, like you rightly pointed out, vulnerability is one of the things, the major challenges that we still have and that we're dealing with. And so, thank you so much, for sharing great insights to that. We'll come to Mr. Ayo now, our he for she man. Mr. Ayo, I'd like to ask, it's been established already that there's gender parity in most sectors, especially in the real estate sector. With your extensive experience in financial services and real estate, how have you seen the industry change with regards to gender equity and over the years? Progress still needs to be made to ensure that fully represented and empowered in this sector. And then I get asked, if you were the government, what will you do differently?
That's a long question for me. Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for putting this up. Sometime last year, there's this company named Roundtable and DHQ that actually organized something about women and wealth at the 3Ws here. I don't think they had that session again this year. I'm not sure. I think you were invited at where they said I could not make it, but Imperial Homes was there. My experience has varied a lot, starting from a consulting firm, KPMG, to ARM, where we're doing real estate financing, and then we needed to work with everybody across the real estate chain. Yeah, so I try to describe the chain as the upstream, those of them that do land banking. ARM was doing a lot of land banking then. And I think those people that out of nowhere create land. So you see them having 5,000 hectares of land. Yeah, so that's the like of the thing we are having at the end of the freedom way now. And a lot of other places are national. Then you have the midstream where you have the development side. And then you have the downstream where you have a lot of the sales happening. And I was telling my colleagues here that sales is the heart of real estate, as it's the most important thing. I can get someone to build for me, I can get someone to do finishing, I can buy the land or do JV, but if you don't know how to sell, and that is the heart where the women are really sitting. And that is my experience about real estate. I think women need to start seeing how important their role is. It's not everybody that carries the brick and mortar. The heart of real estate, where emotion, passion, perseverance really works, is at the point of sale. Making sure that the customer get the right product, making sure that the designs meet the expectation of the end user, making sure that the end user enjoys the product. After 5 years, you see the person you sold to call you again and say, I want to buy another property, and take the person through the journey. So women should see that they play a very, very important role. In the financial services sector, I would say we've seen a lot of improvement. Like you said, 132 years. I don't think so. I think maybe less than 20 years. We will see a lot of equality. We've seen a lot of equality over the last 5 years. Broader financial services, not mortgage. Mortgage is a subset of it. A lot of commercial banks, they have 3 or 4 women as a bank chairman. So we now ask ourselves, and a lot of women on the board. So the question will be, how did they help to translate this to much more representation on the executive management side? And we've seen a couple of banks where women became MDs, the top banks, and a lot of women on executive directorship level. So we've seen a lot of growth. I will come to the mortgage banking sector. I think we have currently 3 MDs out of the really functional 16 mortgage banks. Yeah, 3 MDs. We have a woman in Aqua Savings, one of the biggest mortgage banks in the whole of the South Nigeria. We know we are all fixated on what happened in Lagos and Abuja. Then we have a guy is also one of the biggest mortgage banks. They don't make so much noise. They are somewhere in Surrey, owned by Redeem. A guy is on them. We have resorts. Resorts have been recapitalized. There's a woman that is running resorts. And then, this control about 15 to 20% of the whole mortgage banking sector. So on that side too, I would say we've seen improvements. In terms of equality, I try to distinguish from equity myself. And I say equality is give everybody the opportunity. But equity is what do you do intentionally to say that gap is actually covered? And I can only talk about what we do in Imperial homes. I am very sure that women are stronger than men. I have been to some places in the US where they were building with wood, and I thought maybe they are model homes. Then the architect was telling me, no, it's for earthquake. And that was why when the earthquake in Syria and Turkey, it was sadly happened, I had a chat with the guy and was saying, no, they are fools. They were building with concrete.
Wow.
And still, yeah, they were building with wood. That wood has very good tensile strength. I was learning that this year to withstand earthquakes. That those houses will not crumble the way what we have. That they know it was an earthquake plain and they used concrete. But wood will have survived. And that's why that part of that place I visited in Colorado, they did everything. And every time they have that, they will just go into the shelter on the ground, they will come back, the house is still standing. They only have destruction maybe when there's fire. During the earthquake, maybe power lines falling, you see fire destroy some of the homes. And that is what because my mother, widow raised me, we were 6, and I know the kind, I compare our outcome to where you have a man or a man and a woman raising. We lived in a big environment where I can compare myself to 30 families. And my mother raised the 6 of us. She made sure you go to the University of Lagos. You will not go to any polytechnic, so you must pass. And she made sure, pay that school fees. So I know women are stronger. The only thing is, you need to see where their strength is and really make sure they are eating at the right point. Don't try, there are some places I see men just like lifting bricks and doing what makes them look stronger. But much more impact in this real estate is made by women. In Imperial, we are very intentional about equity. We create safe working environment. For me, it's a no-no that we have an environment where women will not be comfortable. And you know the meaning of comfortable. Even when I do external meetings, sometimes 3 weeks ago, I organized a meeting for a top client, and then I told the staff to come so that we will onboard the client. And you know, when I got into his room, around 11 in the morning, someone that started his day late, so he was still dressed in his pajamas, and I told him, no, my staff cannot come to. His wife was there, but I have to tell him. Because I don't think she will feel really safe talking to you in this kind of. He's someone that is very responsible, but so we have to be intentional about the environment. So in the office, outside the office, how do we make sure that women are comfortable? And women also, on their own side, also have to do this in the environment where they control. You are CEOs of the companies. Are you intentional about the environment? So I always try also like checking their comfort level. Because once women are comfortable, then they can do much more. Like I said, from the strength point. Then there's also training. Then we're intentional about growth and placement. So I have one of my colleagues here that came with the meeting with me. There are a lot of units that I think we need the passion and the strength of a woman. The passion and the strength of a woman. Because they are a bit correlated. So there are a lot of units in the financial services sector that you go to. And you say that a lot of HR and general services are manned by women. So they think that the woman is passionate, is cool-headed, and she's like the, what they call it, the gatekeeper. So she's the one that even brings the men that will eventually become the ND. So I looked at it, 85% of mortgage banks and financial institutions in Nigeria, women head that unit. So for men themselves to trust women with recruiting and bringing in the good hands that will turn. So we men and ourselves, we know we just like the bragado, and we want women to see the muscles, women to see us shouting and see to calling the shots. But deep down, sales, which is the core and the heart of any business, recruiting, which is the second, anyway, the kind of resources we use in turning around business, we make sure that it is women that manage such. So a lot of companies need to be putting a lot of spotlight, maybe go beyond mentoring and having this session, and make sure you spotlight companies where you are having complaints, companies that are just carefree about it, they are not particular about it. It will make companies sit up and say, what can we do to make sure that there's equity in this space, especially in the financial services sector, as it relates to real estate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayo. You've gone from talking to us and re-emphasizing the importance of sales as the heart of every business, and how in most organizations, including Imperial Mortgage, women have been identified to do better in specific units and are put in charge there. You also talked about at least 20 years, so to speak, to achieve this in the financial sector. Yeah. The other sectors, we're still hoping to cut our numbers down. So I'm very happy to hear that, to know that in the finance, mortgage, and the banking representation has really improved, as we have a good number of female bank MDs and MDs in the mortgage sector. And you further clarified to us that equality and equity are not the same thing. Equality is when you're giving everyone equal chance, but then equity goes beyond just giving equal chances to everyone, but meeting everyone where they truly are, and providing the resources that they need. Because yes, we're giving both men and women equal opportunities, but we forget that women come with so many other biological, so to speak, responsibilities attached to them, and so meeting them at where they are is what is important. And at the core of your business, you have talked about creating the comfort that they need to thrive, what they require to thrive, and then of course the intentionality both inside the corporation and outside. So wherever you are, you make sure that women are comfortable in that environment. And then of course you talked about growth and training, and so I assume that as the government, which was your question, that what you're going to do differently also is to ensure that there's constant growth and training for women, to empower them, especially at those units where you require their cool heads and passion to thrive. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayo, for giving us great insight to that. Is Mrs. Bridget online? Yes, she is. I can see her. So we'll go right over to Mrs. Bridget Adeyemi. Can you unmute her, please? She's there. She has glasses on, I can see. You haven't seen her? Hi, madam. Good morning or good afternoon. It's nice to have you here today. Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Everyone.
Hi.
And happy International Women's Day. First off, let me apologize for not being able to make it in person. I'm currently on medication that doesn't allow me to be out of the house for now because of the reaction to the medication. I'm so sorry about that, please.
That's okay.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll go right to your first question. As a leading woman in the real estate industry and the MD of Lekki Aja Ikoyi Property Investment Limited, which has been in operation for the past 8 years or more, what challenges have you personally faced as a woman in this industry?
Oh, okay. Personally, speaking from experience, I think the one major challenge I faced when I was just starting off was trying to gain the trust of my prospective buyers, and also trying to convince some of the developers I had worked with then. I'm talking about like 9-10 years ago, trying to convince them that I can actually market their property on a fee, on a percentage gain. But my major challenge then was gaining the trust of the clients, convincing the client, because as at then we really didn't have much realtors or companies, real estate marketing companies, marketing properties online, and also because of the negative image we have as a country, you know, in the mind of people outside the country, it was a bit difficult to gain their trust, to make them understand that they can actually buy these properties even without traveling all the way down to come do physical inspection, and also trying to convince them that it's better and safer for them to buy already built property than sending money home to relatives to help them build, because, you know, of course, we've had stories and cases of situation where people send money homes to their relatives to help them build, and when they come back after some years, they don't see anything that has been done with their funds. So it took a while. It took me quite a while to be able to gain that trust. And I think that has been my main challenge I think that was the main challenge I had when I started the business.
Thank you so much. You've highlighted trust issue as one of the major challenges that you had on your way up your real estate career, and I quite agree with you. Up till today, we're still having a major challenge with dealing with diaspora clients, and you know, the more we continue to deliver on our words, I'm sure that, you know, that would continue to reduce. And as women, especially, we have more, you know, we tend to have people trust us more than women, and so making sure that we put ourselves out there, provide the necessary support that they require at every point in time, would continue to help us build that trust. I'd like to go back to Tosin. Tosin is on site, so is Tosin online? I can't see Tosin. Tosin is a bit distracted, so let's go to. She's back. So this is first-hand. Okay, so let me just go straight to Tosin's question. Tosin is called. She's seen as the queen of beach houses, and we can see and experience firsthand this because she's right there on site now, you know, joining us for this discourse. And for me, this is very inspiring, even though. You know, it would have been nicer for her to be in a cozy environment under the AC, but she's there under the sun and, you know, joining us and wanting to lend her voice to this. Thank you so much again, Tosin. So you are called the Queen of Beaches. How did you bag that name? Even though we can see you here, but, you know, other people need to, you know, understand why you are referred to as the Queen of Beaches.
So funny about to say, I'm actually on the good side of Island. I'm actually watching the.
We can barely hear you. We can barely hear you.
Don't make a mistake.
We didn't hear that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So what I said was, I'm actually on the building site in Victoria Island. Because I have a facade that was designed from scratch being installed, I want to make sure that it's put together. I think the most important thing is being thorough and innovative. I'm very particular about this matter, especially in an environment where I don't want to say negative, but in reality, as my traffic can be very complacent, people are used to managing things already done. But I think we have the mindset of excellence, put ourselves in a better position, particularly for the beach houses. And I say this as management, and I said this at the beginning already. Canada doesn't care anybody, it's just a better. You do a good job, your reference goes beyond all. There are places where it's spoken about that. Don't get to rent yourself, and this is very important because you always have to do a good job. For the beach houses, I've done 10. Now, and I'm on number 11. Wow. And I do on average about 1.5. Yeah? But quality of what we put out is why the impact has come as a sign of excellence, it has come as a reference point. And I guess the reality is that when you're a man who happens to get beyond the not much is expected. It's so much more amplified. I'm sorry to be back in the room. I'm not trying to debate you, but the reality is that if not unexpected, and you up beyond expectation, as was said by the last speaker, I almost buy a state. You know that you become the extra man and you have to prove yourself to be out. And I guess that's why I guess the title has
Thank you so much, Tosin. Tosin has told us that she has done 10 beach houses. She's currently on her 11th, and that's amazing. Very, very laudable. Well done, Tosin. So she said she backed this name by being thorough, by not being complacent, because there's a lot of complacency with, it's the norm for a lot of people. And then by setting yourself apart with the quality delivery that she has brought to table with every project. The quality is why, essentially, she has backed the name. And then she also mentioned that it is more amplified because she's a woman. No offense to the men in the room, but I think most importantly, the quality of what you have, consistently given or churned out is the reason why you backed the name. We have heard from you. Well done. I'll go to Mrs. Chukunonso now. How was the industry when you started? You have well over 2 decades, I'm sure, experience in this industry now. Was the industry as open to gender diversity as it is today? How can we further achieve equity in the real estate industry?
Thank you, ma'am. When I started, when I got into real estate, it wasn't just open to women. I think then the only real estate lady I knew was Dr. Dedu Adegwero that I had met on the Farah Park project. It was majorly a male-oriented and dominated business, especially the agency part of it. And then the people who used to get their name was either the Knight Frank and Watley, the Jide Taiwo, Didi Afati Lane. Those were the ones that we used to hear their names. And it wasn't easy, but one thing was clear. There were newcomers to the business. New developers were coming up. Smaller communities and satellite communities were springing up. Besides things like Farah Park, I also caught my teeth on projects like Moe of other. A lot of the estates in the Obafemi Owode local government of Ogun State. I did quite a couple of that. So there were new developers who couldn't attract the interest of the big broker agencies, who were ready to work with younger agencies like mine. So they also gave us business. There were also developers who traditionally, real estate development were not their core, who were beginning to test the waters of property development. People like ARM in those days. And they were coming out with Farah Park, and they were coming out with Oluwole, trying to diversify the asset management base of their business. They were willing to try the young ones, the new entrants, and it gave us a lot of credibility when you said that you were, I'm one of the agents for ARM or whatever. It helped the brand in those days. But not a lot of women. But I will not say that I encountered any discrimination. No, I'm not going to say that. One, for women to try, one of the things that helped me was I had the network that I had grown from my banking year. So I was going to people who I used to sell financial services to now sell a different kind of service. So they already knew me. So I had a leg in the door already. Number two, I was also operating from a wealth of knowledge and information. I love to read, I love to research, I went to Lagos Business School as far back as 2008, all in the quest for knowledge. So when people begin to deal with you, and they see that you have knowledge and you knew what you were selling, and you could bring value and you could bring something to the table, they were willing to deal with you. So I didn't experience that kind of, discrimination. They were open. Not too long after ARM, I went into ARM to sell for them. A woman became the MD. And the men I met on the job, people like Ayobo, Kere, Labo, Guadamosi, Ehose Guavon, they were all very helpful. They were open, they were communicative, they were helpful. The ones who didn't know how to do, they helped us to get it right. But what will help women more, and what has helped a lot of women, was operating from a place of not just experience, information, knowledge, and research. So if you know what you're doing, if you know what you're selling, if they throw any question at you, if any challenge comes, you're better equipped to manage and handle it. So I do not think that developers actually prefer to work only with men or to prefer to work only with women. For most of the developers, they just want to offload their inventory, they just want to sell. They just want to have their receivables coming. They want to be able to reach cash calls. If they are taking delivery of trips of sand, they want to be able to pay for it. So if it's a woman that is going to sell, or a man that is going to sell, whoever is going to sell, I think they just want to see the money. So in real estate, I'm not going to say that I didn't face that. It will be unfair to say that I faced any kind of discrimination. They actually, a lot of them wanted to support me because I was a woman, because I was persistent, because I knew what I was saying, and I showed up. What was important was also to show up. So for women, what I would advise is lots of training, lots of information gathering, lots of, also when you get those information, analyze and utilize them. Show up. I mean, showing up in different places, in different conferences, in whether it's a business school, whether it's an event, you also diversify and build your network base. When people know you outside of you just coming to offer them this to buy or cold calling, it also helps. One of the things that I noticed that a lot of people, a lot of the ladies who came into the business also used technology like you mentioned. Whether it was cold calling, whether it was whatever it is, sales and leads generation. So it's okay, it works, it helps. Some people will look at it, they will view it, they will maybe make contact or listen to you or see you or take an inspection. But you also see that penultimately that they keep looking for who knows you and how can they rely on you. I remember there was a transaction once, and I had published a magazine called the Lady Realtors magazine, and I had published about 1,000 copies of it, and of course I didn't have 1,000 people to give it to. So what I did was I had bought this big top 500 and major 5,000 companies in Nigeria that was being published by Gold Star Publishers, and what I did was to address and mail them to all the MDs of all the companies. I didn't know who you were, but I just sent it to you. And I started getting calls. And one of them called me and said, from the way they will pronounce your name, is this Ichechi Okonkwo? You will know that the person doesn't know you. And probably was responding to a cold call. And I said, yes, this is her. And I said, okay, I got a magazine from you, a real estate magazine. I said, yes. I said, but I don't know you. He said, definitely, sir. You don't know me, but I got your number from Gold Star Publishers Directory and this and that. I said, okay, I'm looking at this, your magazine. Looks interesting. For real estate agency. And he actually invited me over to his office. I said, come over. And I was not too far away from his office. And when I got to see him, he said to me, in this magazine that you sent to me now, what is interesting? What can I buy here? What would you recommend? And went through and I picked up some project that I was marketing at that time. And I was trying to get him maybe to subscribe to 1 or 2 plots. He ended up buying almost 10,000 square meters. But something happened. After we agreed on price and agreed on everything, he looked at me and he said, I want to buy, but I don't know you. So we are no longer arguing over the product. He has keyed in into the product. But he didn't know me and he didn't know the developer. And that was the first time the developer was coming out with a project that big. So neither me nor the developer were well known to him.
Had much credibility.
Yes. So, but he didn't have any problem with the project because of the location. And he said, who knows you? Who can more or less guarantee you? So I looked around his office. I saw pictures, and I saw a picture he took with somebody. And I said, do you know that gentleman? And he said to me, what do you mean? You saw the picture in my office and you're asking me if you know him. I said, then call him. So he called the gentleman twice. The gentleman didn't answer. And I said, okay, let me try. So I picked up my own phone and I called the gentleman. The gentleman picked up the first time. And I said, this is my father. He said, how can he be your father? So he took my phone and said, oh, so I can call you twice, you won't answer me. And this person calls you and you answer. And the person went like, oh, that he was busy. He said, you're very busy to pick her calls. Anyway, he said, this is what I'm looking at. She brought a few things to me and I needed to key in and I wanted to know somebody who knew her. And the man said to her, oh, is it no? So he said, go ahead and do it. So I found favor, I found grace, and there was trust, and there was prior relationship in a couple of the projects that I started with. So it's key for women to show up, actively grow your network base. In those days, I joined even different organizations, whether it is WIMBIs, whether it is FIDA. I actively sought organizations to join and grow network and referral. I got a lot of leads from the CWO that I belong to. People whose husbands wanted to buy, their children, their brothers. So there's actually also a trust and referral network in this thing that we do. And it's important to key in, show up, be educated, be informed, and be on time.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Chukwunonso. And this just speaks a lot about you and about a lot of the leading women, not just in the real estate sector, in the sectors that we have around Nigeria as a whole. When you listen to most of them, what you hear out of their discussions or conversation is not just passion, but it's a lot of intentionality. So a summary of what you have said is you were intentional about being distinguished and outstanding in this industry, and so you put in the work. So going from doing cold calls to showing up to actually actively and intentionally building the networks that you require at every stage. And I need to put this out. It's not every network that would buy from you. The network will build the customer base that you need. Eventually, when you begin to invest in those networks, they will also invest in you. So at the CWO, you probably didn't get any clients, but the network invested in you because you have invested in the network.
They gave me a lot of referrals.
So that's you invested by being there and actively playing your part in that network, and then the network paid you back by giving you referrals. So it is important that, when I see a lot of women who come to, a lot of older women sometimes, or a lot of people looking for mentorship opportunities, they come with the mindset to just take and not give. You must give for you to be able to be given a return. I believe that everyone has a key, and that key might not necessarily be opening your own door. It might be opening someone else's door. So when you open that door, then other doors will be opened for you by the different people who have or are holding on to your keys. So she says you have to show up all the networks that you think will be vital to your growth. You have to be there. You have to constantly show up. She didn't experience discrimination when she came into the space. In fact, she found favor and support from a lot of the men, and we're seeing a lot of them doing that. And these conversations we hold will help open up the minds of those who are not currently doing that and help us, find our feet wherever we encounter them. And then a very interesting story with the client who you met. Network. We cannot, it's very important. You build and invest in those networks because they'll definitely come handy. You will see your names mentioned in rooms when you're not, because you have actually invested.
Then I call you and I said, okay, HHU, your daughter is getting married. I haven't received card. Abi, I didn't make the guest list. You must be personable too. Are you serious? And you must be humble. Abi, I didn't make the guest list. Then you go struggling. No, you've not gotten your card. Maybe I didn't even make your guest list for real. Then I turn around and I say, okay, so what are you gifting them? Please, I have this lovely 3-bedroom apartment in Ikoyi that we must go and see. And there are several times that I have reached out to clients whose children are getting married and put forward a property as a suitable wedding present. I said, man, start the children off right. And a lot of the time, it's flawed.
Amazing.
Yes, a lot of the time. So you need to look for actually not just waiting for the business to come. You need to create. Okay, so you're turning 50. What present are you getting for your 50th? So you begin to look at things that are happening in the lives of your clients and people around you. And I know a lot of women that I have approached. She go and call me and say, oh, I need to move houses, my landlord is stressing me. And I said, let's go and look at a few properties. And I said, no, I'm not showing anything to this anymore. You're buying. He said, buy how? I don't have the money. I said, let's find what you like, then we find the money. And she, she came along to inspect. She kept on complaining, I don't have the money. And I said, go and free up equity. You said, free up equity from where? I said, sell some of your jewelry, sell some of your gold, it will give you equity. And she looked at me and she said, I should sell my gold. I said, yes, you can't keep renting. And she actually sold a portion of her gold, and that formed the down payment she made for, it was Imperial Homes that financed it. And because it was an off-plan project, she kept on paying. I said, keep paying throughout the life of the project. 200,000 naira is money. 500,000 naira is money. And she kept on paying, and I meticulously kept her assist. By the time we got them, the property was about 20 million. She had paid at 4 million naira. And I want to from her or 6 million naira, which she cleared with less than a year because she was so agitated that the girl was holding title to it. And she needed to get that title to it. So for women, when they say equity for this International Women's Day, I look at equity two ways. One, equity in the workspace or in the industry space, like equality, the level playing ground, and I also look at equity at the equity or the ability for the woman to access the funding and the support to buy for herself, to invest for herself. One of the things I want to open and throw to Mr. Yogo is that Nigeria does not have enough mortgage brokers. I don't even think we have mortgage brokers. We have mortgage companies. Like when people are shopping for mortgage, you will be shocked at the number of women who have held down good jobs, how all the documentation they require, payslip, their taxes are up to date, their ratio to income, they pass every checklist, they check, but they don't even know where to start. So we need to have mortgage brokers that will actually go and shop for mortgage for people. Be able to put it in a spreadsheet. ASO Homes will give you this interest rate, will give you this tenor, Imperial will do this, ASO Resort will do this. That's what they need. And this person's down payment is 35 here, is 30 here, is 10 here, is 0 here. Because it will help more women and more people, not just women, get onto the ladder. There are a lot of women who know they have good jobs and they earn well monthly. They are still not on the property ladder because they don't know how to free equity to buy their home. So it's something that I also want to say, put it out there. More information needs to go out on mortgage And I'm hoping that more women will be trained as mortgage brokers. If there are 16 functional and active mortgage institutions in Nigeria, I do not think it's difficult to go around 16, study them, make contacts there, and actually have a brokerage map, a schedule. These are their contact lists, this is the numbers, and these are their requirements. Yes. Because if we can teach a lot of people how to access mortgage, and for them not to be afraid of fees, you must make sure it is well titled. The property must have a bankable title. The property must be valued. You must bear the valuation fee and all this. If we can teach women that, without waiting for them to save it all up, more women will also get on the ladder. So for this year, for me, equity is two ways. Equity in a level playing ground in the real estate sector, and the equity in you finding your equity to do your own property. Thank you.
Wow, she's just giving us a masterclass. Because that's the only way I can describe this. She's giving us a masterclass on not just accessing, how to access funds and begin to climb the ladder by ourselves as women, but also going out of our way, our comfort zone, to look for the opportunities that we require and latching onto them when they come. So a lot of young realtors, you see, they sit down and maybe just do social media and they are waiting endlessly for the phone to ring. Oh no, that's, you have to do much more, and that's why I've called what she has done a masterclass. You have to go out of your way. She calls the parents of people who are getting married and practically invites herself to the wedding, so that she can leverage that network at that wedding. Wow. She creates the opportunities that she needs to, meet people and leverage on that network at that particular place. And I think it's just fantastic. So if it's your school, your children's school, if it's your church, activities, get involved. Make sure that you put yourself in positions where you meet people, and then you can access them to get your products and services across to them at every point in time. Manna, they say, doesn't fall from heaven anymore. We all know that. You have to go out there and actually look for your manna by yourself. And manna in this case is looking for our clients and presenting our products to them where they are. Okay, and then I'm going to go right on to Mr. Ayo to address some of the mortgage talks that she has mentioned. Mr. Ayo, with your background in investments and credit, what strategies do you believe will be most effective in promoting access to mortgage financing options for women? It's a two-part question, sir. Let me just ask both right away. And then, what's the ratio of women to men applying for mortgage at this time? What products can you put out in the market to support women, especially because she has re-echoed the fact that women can access mortgage. So we shouldn't be all about buying bags and shoes and ashwebis and what have you that we buy. We should also start saving, putting equity together, and then Imperial Mortgage and all the other mortgage institutions can help us access mortgage at the right time. So he would share with us some of the products that support women, and then the ratio that we have in the market at the moment, so we know what we're up against and how we need to put in more work. And then, of course, what strategies do you believe are most effective in promoting access to mortgage financing options for women? And I dare say that when I was trying to put this together, I didn't find a lot of women in property development. And for me, that's a major concern. How can women access more finance to fuel their real estate career?
Okay, thank you. So I will take that question first. On assessing our funding for property development business, we don't have anything specific. Now, I've only met a woman developer. Maybe she's the second person. Because I called her Yaraji because I've known her for more than 20 years in this real estate sector. Now, when I was at my former place, I met a woman that I did some 40 minutes. And and the project was already more informed by the time I came on board. So we were able to help her restructure and refinance, and then of course the bank sold everything, and she lives in the US now. So for my 8 years working as CEO of 2 mortgage banks, I said I've only seen one woman develop an online portfolio. We don't have anything specific, but what we want to do that is coming to my mind that we can commit to enlightenment. There are a lot of opportunities. We need to see what challenges women are facing and that is stopping them from breaking into that sector, especially the midstream, which is the development side, and build products that specifically address that. My own school of thought, my background is, I don't just go all out and build products. I like to see the people feel their pains, feel the pain points, and the challenges, and the upside, and be able to build products that address that. I would say on the property development side, that is what we commit to do. She mentioned about the brokerage side. In parallel, we're going to commit to doing a free brokerage masterclass. It's something that has always been on my mind, that there's a room for the mortgage brokerage business, and that can triple the size of business people do on the realty side. Triple it on the realty side. So we'll commit this year to doing a mortgage brokerage masterclass that will bring people to talk about, MDs of mortgage banks to talk about the process, so that people that are realtors can see it, and when they are selling, we are not only selling cash only, installment payment only, but you can also sell mortgage side of it. So we are committing to that. I will work with that to make sure that we do that before the end of second quarter this year. And so if you have people that are on this program, it's going to be a free masterclass for people on this program. So that's going to be our own contribution to it. To open the frontier for people to understand how they can do property development, 4 units, 6 units. I have a friend, she will know the person, he does the 4 units, 6 units a year. Doesn't do more than that. Once they start it in January, we will end it by October, November, and we will go for vacation. Right? The next November is buying the plot, is going to develop. No more than 1 plot, 1.5 plot.
So just making her money.
And she's making her money. So we're going to have that masterclass to look at the development side and the financing options, and I commit to getting people playing in the financing side, 3-4 mortgage bank MDs, reputable mortgage banks to talk about it. They will also talk about the brokerage. And for people on this program, I repeat, it will be free for them. It's going to be a free program anyway, but we'll give them priority. That's on one side. On the mortgage financing side, I've seen a trend over the last 8 years, and I say I'm an MD of mortgage banks. I've seen maybe more than 600, 700 mortgages being underwritten. And I have data, I called my former place for someone to give me data in my current place. 4 out of every 10 mortgages that those 2 mortgage banks have done over the last 8 years, 4 out of 10, 40% is done for women. Yeah, and there's a 35% joint mortgages. That is the man and the woman. Yeah, the man and the wife. Only 25% is by men only. So when we are looking at that data, it was surprising to me that women is already occupying 40%. In fact, in the month of February in Imperial, I think maybe we approved 8 or 9. 5 of them are done by women. Yeah, you see people that are just YouTubers, you see someone that has been on Big Brother Nigeria, I don't think it's the same. You see a lady that is a comedian, that women that are young, early 2030s that are coming up and saying, look, and they are paying, we see people that are paying based on every bit they get. Come and do MC this show, and she's paying. Every week she's paying. And she's already paying ahead of time. So the ratio and the data already strengthen the discussion we already have here. And the fact that 40% of the mortgages I have seen in 2 mortgage banks over the last 8 years done by women, 35% joint, and that joint is mainly driven by the woman. Look at it behind. All the documents we want, the man will just tell you, Diego, you want this, you still ask for my mother's driver license. It's the woman that will be pushing it at the other end. And I will tell you, 97% of the cases where we have the man and the woman, the joint income, has been performing loans. So if the woman is in that deal,
The man is
90% where we have the woman only has been performing. The man own is less than 50%. That's mortgages. So you can also see how mortgage banks now, we are now using data to say we can specifically target women. You know, when we sit down at we call it a credit committee, management and board credit committees, there's no discrimination. We don't intentionally set out, but data supports it. See, hey, a woman is in this deal, most likely she's passionate about it. We discuss about pressure point. She wants children to have
stable life.
Yeah, and anytime there's a challenge with the man, we also get the woman to do spousal consent, because the judiciary has also supported the woman. So there's a lot of good points that women just need to be enlightened about. There's a ruling of the appeal court that has never been overturned that said if a man takes buy a house using a mortgage, and the man leave the house and refuse to pay that mortgage, the mortgage bank cannot take that property, even if we have what yes, in this Nigeria, 2018, and no court has set it aside, not even the Supreme Court. So what we now do is that if the man is taking mortgage, we must get the wife to sign this aside. So if he's not paying, we talk to him. Because we have cases where the man will leave the house, go and be living with another woman, and will not pay. Then we take him to court. We have to put that woman in consideration. So the society itself is already working and trying to level these points already. One thing is enlightenment and information for women to know that there's intentional steps in place to make sure they are well placed, even in the society. You go to the judiciary, you go to Lagos State ministries, most of the pamphlets are women.
Yeah.
And a lot of the judiciary, even when we have cases with women, the registrar and the judges, most of the judges anyway, Lagos State High Court, they are women. Mortgage cases go to them mostly. So when the woman comes and she says, no, they are cheating me, they set everybody aback. Because they will now put light. Tell us, how did you arrive at this? She doesn't need to write it in the doc. So we will stay there. And the judge will say, no, you want to cheat? And we said, no. Okay, you need to now go back and do proper interpretation. So nobody is intentionally setting women apart. Now, of course, we know that we've had that gap for time. She has mentioned it about the fact that even for some people like her, it's easier for her to deal with men. I'm sure she should not say that directly than with women. So we are intentional about what we want to do. We continue to support and giving you data to support the fact that more women are taking mortgages and more women have mortgages that are performing than men. And we as a mortgage bank would rather go in when we have Mr. and Mrs. Sincerely, we know it's a slam dunk. It cannot feel on both sides. And what is not left for now for this midstream and the downstream and the upstream for women to get much more involved, so that they control the part of the pie. I was telling them 5 or 10% of sales price is the largest part of the pie. They even get more money than the mortgage bank. Yes, when you say property is 100 million naira, as long as collecting 5%, 5 million, you are into the midstream as well. Will the developer make 5% after paying financing fee? I know what I'm talking about. So they're already controlling the downstream. You want to control the midstream and the upstream. Yeah, and it is there for you to take over. We're just saying all you need is information, proper training. And then, like you said, show up, go and talk to money, take JVs. Women don't want to have that discussion. Most of them say they want to buy the land before they develop. No, it's not. Most of the development will have JVs. Go and have that discussion. And you'll be surprised. They'll say, okay, let us give her 2 plots, 3 plots to start with. And before you know it, let us plan 1 hectare. Thank you. I hope I've covered your session.
Yes, you've more than covered. Thank you very much, sir. I'll just highlight some of the things you talked about. You said that you've only met one developer, you're 2 times being the CEO of the mortgage bank, and for me, that shows clear disparity. A lot of women still are probably afraid. So from most of what you have said, it just shows that women are usually more committed when it comes to finance than men. and so they don't want to put their foot in the door when they are not ready completely. They always want to be ready because they don't want to go back on their word.
No, I think the problem, I disagree anyway. The problem I see is too much respect for men. We see it when we play football. Real Madrid versus shooting stars. Shooting stars player will just be looking and be saying, "Oh, these are the guys I've been seeing in the TVs." Nothing is complete for the men as well for the women. Like you said, you can put the whole deal together. I invite myself, I sell you the property. It's not given to herself on the plate. I think women respect too much, put much respect on the table for the man. They don't want to just compete with the man on that upstream side of sourcing for land and developing. And I think if they do, sorry.
So it starts with, like I have a daughter.
Yes.
She's in her class. She's just the only girl doing applied electricity. So it starts with what is interest for the women. So it starts from when you have kids too. So you see why you will not see so many women dominating this area. Who are the engineers, for example? Most even parenting. No, you can't. This is a man's job.
It's a man's job.
Yeah.
It starts there.
Lesser women.
Yes. So they tell you. I wanted to actually even study architecture because my dad was an architect. He said, no, don't go and be an architect. It's a man's job. My dad told me that. Go on.
So stereotyping starts
from
the background.
From the background.
Yeah.
So then you will now grow into it. Let's say a child going to do a woman's job. Then maybe someone that we already. No, so I know where we push women to.
So it's right from childhood.
Yes,
it's already girls play in STEM, which is the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Yes.
You see graduate more in female engineers, and more female architects and whatever.
Yes.
But more important is it's not when women come onto this midstream of construction, they will take it over. Let me tell you what is their greatest impediment. No, they have paucity of knowledge in construction and somebody holding their hands.
Yes.
So one of the things that we are going to do this year in the Lady Routers is we are going to have construction master classes. The building cell master classes.
Amazing.
And what we plan to do is we had proposed to have 3 visits. Number 1, we're going to go to the relay market, the building materials market. Go and register with them. Go and know the major importance of tile, sanitary wares. Go to Alaba and know the people who are bringing the lights. Be able to tell the difference between an LED light and regular power saver. Be able to say that this is 8 watts, this is 16, this is 6 by just looking at the brand.
So just filling the knowledge gap.
Filling the knowledge gap. Going to people like the door people, the Jehovah's, and going to their factory at the Lekki Free Trade Zone, knowing the difference between a 6-foot door and a 9-foot door, the one that swings left, the one that swings
So
right.
I think one of the challenges we see here too is because women don't have a lot of social networks where they interact and converse, have these conversations as compared to men. That's why we see the deficiency in this particular
so
space.
If we go to a relay like we have planned, then we will go to the biggest building materials expo in Turkey. Yes. They have to go there. They have to see it. And you begin to compare the prices you got in a relay and the prices in Turkey to know whether you should import, whether 2 or 3 of you can come together and do a 40-foot container. How many doors do I need? How many sanitary wares do I need?
Please let us know as soon as
that's
this masterclass is ready, so that every one of us here can be a part of it. Because we really need, these young women. We're filling up the brokerage part. We also need to begin to move to property development.
Once they know that, so the masterclass is going to include physical visits. The masterclass is going to include how you become a Dangote distributor, cement distributor.
Amazing.
Because if you're going to go into construction, you're going to be consuming as much cement. When are you a Dangote distributor, you need the bags, and when do you need the Lafarge that will bring pre-mixed concrete for you? And we're going to bring in people who have done development, people like your husband, Dr. Kompor, people like CDV, developers that they know who will come into the class and actually tell them that this is what it is. And be able to bring architects and builders who will put up a drawing map. The problem is that most women can't read a mechanical drawing.
Just the knowledge
and electrical.
gap.
It is the knowledge gap. So she doesn't know. So these pipes. So what do you do? Yeah, they can find lawyers that can do governance consent for them.
Yes, true.
They can find people who could do.
And even when you find engineers to do the building, you have to also be involved, actively involved, for you to be able to have the best delivered to your customers.
Show up at construction sites, see when they are mixing the cement and sand,
take
and
off your heels and wear your boots.
Be able to go and know the difference between the reinforcement bars.
Yes,
That
absolutely.
why do I need 12 inches? Why do I need more? 16?
Where do you need which? Because they are all important. Which one needs at what
be
stage
able
do
to
you
read
require?
a simple bill of quantity.
Yes.
So when they understand these line items in construction, when a woman can understand 60%
And you can actually
of what is in a bill of quantity,
and you can cost, and you can, a lot of them also are afraid of, the cost, the financing. If you can break it down, understand it, and know at what stage you require the financing,
how much I require,
yes, and then it will make it much easier.
And also how to break out of the fear factor.
Yes.
I always say
Fear factor.
the best interior finishes people you get are the architects.
Very detailed.
Fitness, I was having a discussion with him. Most of these.
We have one of them here, Tosin.
Yeah. The best of them, they are women.
they are women.
And they can do very detailed work. It's just now stepping out and saying, instead of doing one unit for 5 months, how can I roll out and do? And say, if you can do this, you can just replicate these and do 10 units or do 12 units. So that fear factor also tell them, just step in, put your leg in. Most men that started also have that fear. But because absolutely they have no other option than to eat it.
That's why I believe that if we go around all the different people, the vendors of the building components, if we go around and they know the difference between all this and that, and where they sell this and what the prices are, that they will do better. If they are armed with information, then we can begin to put 4 or 5 of them together to do a 4-unit estate. Every one of you owns a 1 minute.
So just to crown it all, no man was born a developer.
Nobody.
No one was born a lawyer. No one was born anything. You sit and you acquire the necessary knowledge that you need.
Exactly.
And of course, that fear will be there. Just do it afraid, and you do it afraid. You have to do it. So do it. Mr. Ayo has told us that women are performing better with mortgages than men. So that is very encouraging for every woman, out there, either looking to buy or looking to, go into property development. There is, a huge opportunity and a huge market. And he has said they are going to put together a free masterclass for mortgage brokerage. And everyone who is joining here, it will be communicated to you at the time when they are putting this together. And I'm hoping that you can join so that we can take it off from there. Thank you so much, for all the amazing inputs. Please don't sit and expect that things will be handed to you. You have to go out and seek the information that you need. Mr. Ayo has consistently talked about seeking information, showing up and seeking information. It is very important. No one, I re-emphasize, was born a developer. They sought the knowledge that they required. They sought the information that they required, and they are doing well. And every woman can do the same. It's just taking out time to seek that information, to interact with even those who are already doing the development and see how they are doing it. And then you can just begin to ride the train. It wouldn't hurt to make mistakes, but you learn on the journey. I think I'll go over to Bridget. Is Bridget still online? Yes. I'd like to ask you quickly as well. You started out as a realtor, and I learned you transitioned into development. What do you believe are the key challenges facing women in the industry today? We've talked about a few of them already. We've talked about fear. We've talked about knowledge gap on finance. What other challenges do you see that are stopping women from venturing into property development, and what advice can we give these young professionals?
Oh, okay. It's good to be back. So I think the major challenge has to still do with finance, yeah. Because when we took a decision to venture into development, we wanted to do it like by ourselves, because we had to save up to be able to start development. We didn't want to start by approaching the banks or getting investors. So we needed to, because it was our first project, and we needed to own it personally, like us. Yeah, so because myself, my husband, of course. But I am still a realtor. I don't see myself as a developer per se. I see myself more as a realtor than a developer. My husband is the developer. So yeah, I think it has to do with finance, because when we were starting, we had to plan. Short, it took us about 2 years. The first year we got the land, and then the second year we had to save towards the development in the second year. So that was how we started, because we wanted to own it personally. And I think what is making some ladies out there, some women, to take a step back is majorly finance. And the other challenge we are also having is getting the right people for the job, getting the right artisans, knowing where to get the right materials, like I've forgotten her name, they assist to sell Lady Levy. She mentioned earlier that you need to go out there to places like Orile to know how much those materials are being sold for, because ladies tend to have a back seat towards development. They believe
So they don't have the right information, they don't have access to the right people that they need, to take on these projects. And more than half the time, they are also worried because being developers, being a developer is completely different from being a realtor because you have to deal with so many other things, from sourcing the right location to getting the right people on the project to making sure that you build quality and your product is marketable, and then of course the documentation processes across all the channels. And so I'd like to ask Mrs. AB quickly, just to further buttress this, what's your advice for young women who are looking to go into property development?
Okay, I always remember what Siska said to me when I was still doing my IT at GT Bank. So Siska, yes, Siska. She said something. I was working directly with her. Yes. She said, "See that a man diligent in his work, he will stand before kings, he will not stand before women." And she was a Muslim. Sincerely speaking, I came from a Christian background, but that was the first time I was saying that scripture. That was actually the first time I was saying that scripture. And till today, it's always, I have it framed in my home, that Proverbs, "See that a man diligent in his work." So my first key is diligence. As a property developer, you must be seen to be diligent. I just completed my apartment and it's totally sold out. But when everybody came, everybody said, "Madam, you did a good job." And it gave me so much joy and so much happiness. But on that project, you could see a diligent worker. So I got a team of diligent people. So like what Bridget rightly said, sometimes getting artisans can be very taxing. But you can always source for the best artisans, diligent people that are actually diligent and skillful in their job. So at the end of the day, they do not spoil your work. Once you see someone not good, totally eliminate that team. Then get the right set of team that will work for you. For me, hard work also pays very well. Hard work. And I've learned a lot from masters. They are masters in the game. I know Dr. Ned is a master, and I have seen hard work in his business. So I would also make my second point as you must get mentors in the business. So I want to go into property development. People have done it before me. People have gone ahead to do this business. I would learn from them. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I don't need to crack my head. What has Victoria Crest Homes done differently? Why are they leading in the industry? I must sit back and learn from them. For me, that is key. What they are also other very good developers, it's a male-dominated, no doubt, but I must sit down and learn. And those ones that have failed in the industry, why did they fail? So there are lots of financing can make you go to these mortgage banks. They can actually make you fail too. Their interest rate is something else. So I tell myself, my projects totally, I will look for a way I will fund them because I do not want to start on a wrong note. And at the end of the day, I get discouraged. So I just look at how am I going to fund my project? Do I need to go to the banks? Do I need to source locally? There's what we call other people's money. Am I going to use that strategy? So for young women wanting to go into development, what I'm trying to say is you must have a strategy and you must have it noted down. These are my strategies and this is how I want to play it. If strategy A isn't working, I'm sure you need to look at strategy B or strategy C. Look at different strategies to see how I want to fund my project, how I want to do my project, who are the leading developers in the industry. I learn from them. How are they doing their businesses? I learn from them. And at the end of the day, I am sure I will be able to deliver good projects. So for me, these are the key things I would advise young women, young ladies that want to do property development. It's very, very important that you must get it right and get it right from the beginning. Learn from experts. There are a lot of good people in the industry. You must learn from them. What are their mistakes? Sometimes they might not come through, but I think it's a very easy way to understand. I can give a clear example. I went to Citadel Views and I looked at what I didn't even need to call Dr. Ned on what he was doing. I saw what he was doing, and now I'm in the team of developers too. So we are building some project, and I told them in that meeting, can we copy what he's doing? They had to even go to the site to actually see what he was doing. So I didn't even need to pick my phone to speak with him, but I could see his processes. So I could see how he's selling, and I could see, and immediately I called him. You know, he pointed out these are the things he is doing. And I could say, you know what, I think we need to take these things.
So that we're running quickly, and because we need to shut it down very soon. Thank you so much. You've quoted Proverbs 22:9 says thou, a man diligent in his or her work, she or he will stand before kings and not just mean men. And so you have to bring diligence to the table, whether as a realtor or as an intending developer or as a developer. Hard work has worked for her, finding and working with the right team. And then, of course, we cannot overemphasize mentorship. Mentorship is very important. The road well traveled. When someone has already gone on the journey, it's going to be better for you to work with that person, and the person will tell you where the potholes are, and so you don't go and tear your tire or even get in an accident, so to speak, literally speaking. So speaking to people who have gone ahead, interacting and connecting with them every time. It's not just a one-time thing. So as often as possible would help you on your journey. And then, of course, finding the right finance strategy or options. And then she also mentioned have a strategy, design a strategy, and how to play, in this industry. It will be really important for you. And one striking thing she said, it's real estate. If you mix cement and sand and concrete and all that, and you put it in a pillar, and you allow it to settle, and if you have done the wrong thing, you have to come and destroy it. That's money gone. So you have to get it right the first time. So seek all the knowledge or the information that you need, work with the right set of people, and so that you can get it right the first time. So I'll take a question for Mrs. Funke, and then we can begin to round it off. Post-pandemic, we've seen so much. Mrs. Funke, are you there? Yes. Post-pandemic, we've experienced so much challenges, economic challenges. How do you see the real estate industry evolving, and what opportunities do you see for women entrepreneurs in this changing landscape?
Thank you for that question. Post-pandemic, truth be told, we saw a bit of economic challenges and low patronage now in real estate markets. But immediately we came out of the COVID, it started getting better gradually. As people began to understand the need for a home. I'm sure that Madam Michichi will agree with me that little after post-COVID, we began to experience high patronage in people requesting for houses. So yes, it's getting better gradually. People are now realizing the need for their own homes, especially first-time home buyers. People that didn't think buying a home for themselves was a priority before. They started seeing the need for them to have a house for themselves. So yes, there's a lot more progress being done now, being experienced now. And how will it affect a woman now? A woman who is focused will be able to enjoy the benefits. Now, because people are now realizing the need to buy a house now more, because post-COVID, there are still some, okay, like for example, now we're having this conversation, I'm having a conversation with you here from a house. So we still have the Zoom meeting, we still have the virtual meeting, we still have the need for a home. You need to be somewhere, you understand? So that has also increased the level, the percentage of people buying houses. Now, how will it affect a woman is this. A woman who is focused will get it right. And how are you going to be focused? You need to know what you're selling. Product knowledge. Nobody wants to buy from an amateur. Nobody will take their car to a mechanic who is just learning, a trial and error mechanic. So you need to position yourself as a name in your industry, as a face in the industry. You need to place yourself as an authority in your industry. And how do you do that? You're talking to a client, he's asking questions, you need to be able to answer his questions conveniently and confidently without saying, nobody wants to buy from an amateur, right? So you need to know your product, you need to be focused, you need to attend events, like somebody mentioned here. Attend events, learn about the industry that you are in. And I also want to mention, please, this masterclass, I'm very, very interested. It's not just USA marketing I'm doing. I want to also know everything about it. So whenever the masterclass is coming up, I'm very interested. Absolutely. So please, one of the things a woman can also do to enjoy the benefits of this period, this post-COVID period, in sales now, in real estate marketing, is know your product, know every information that you need to know about your industry, and position yourself as an authority in your industry. Be focused and be willing to learn.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Funke. She has rightly pointed out that when COVID came, no one knew COVID was coming. No one planned for it. But what we realized with COVID was that the home was the first vaccine. Everybody go home. That was the first cure for COVID. If you are not exposed, you were in your house, in your secure space, then you'll be safe. And so that spiked the demand for houses at the time, like she rightly said. And for a woman who wants to thrive in the industry and take advantage of this, she has said, build yourself with product knowledge, the right skill set, be an authority, and that would only come from seeking the right information and knowledge. And then, of course, leverage on networks. You have to go out there. You cannot sit in your comfort zone and expect things to happen. You have to go out there. At this point, I would like to ask our distinguished speakers to give us some last words. We can go on and on. It's endless. Today will not be enough to exhaust all we have to discuss when it comes to women participation and embracing equity to build stronger communities in the real estate space. So I'd like to start with Mrs. Chukunonso.
Thank you very much. Closing words, keep learning. Knowledge will help you cover the gap if you're experiencing inequality or inequity in your sector. Keep learning. Knowledge will help you free the equity to do what you want to do, whether the equity is to buy your own or to start to build your own. The game changer is keep learning. Never stop learning. Thank you.
Mrs. Ibi, I would say keep up your work and be committed to doing more. Most importantly, trust in the Lord with all your heart. For me, lean not on your own understanding, know your ways, acknowledging, and He will direct your path. May God help us in this our journey to be successful.
Amen. And Mr. Ayo.
Yeah. So, aside learning and doing well, let us leave fear out of it. You can go all out and exploit the opportunities the world is waiting for women to manifest. Men themselves are scared. So we're even afraid and scared that what are they cooking? So we're waiting for you guys. Come on and take over. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Bridget. Mrs. Bridget, Tosin had said she had a meeting, so she's still here. We can hear her.
Ladies that are looking towards venturing into the real estate business to... Sorry, it's calling me. Hello?
We can hear you.
Hello? So my encouragement to you is to be consistent in what you do. Consistency matters because that is what will take you to the level you want to be in the industry. And then you also be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate your little wins. You understand? Don't be discouraged. Because of course along the way there's some things that will happen that will want to like discourage you, that will want to like dampen your spirit. But I just want to encourage you to keep pushing. The sky is your limit. And also be patient with yourself. Follow the process. Don't be too eager to be like Madam Mrs. Okonkwo. Don't be too eager to be Bridget. Don't be too eager to be. Don't venture into the real estate business today. Then you want to be up there the next day. It's a process. So I will encourage you to be patient with yourself. Follow the process and be consistent. Let people know you for what you do. Let people believe your brand. Let people trust you. Let people be able to trust you with their funds, because it will get to a point in your life that there are some clients that will even just make payments for the properties you are selling without even coming down to inspect those houses physically. Those things takes time, it takes trust, and for you to be able to earn the trust of the prospective buyers, it takes time. It's not something that will happen overnight. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Is Tosin still online? She had said she had a meeting. She's no longer online. Okay, so let's take Mrs. Funke's last words.
And for everybody who knows me, my watchword has always been consistency. Rome was not built in a day. Everybody you see speaking here didn't start this journey yesterday. So it's a process. Trust yourself. Be willing to do the dirty parts of the work. Because it's not a bed of roses. There are some days, there are some weeks, you do all your marketing and nobody's even saying, hello, what are you selling? Do not be discouraged. Just keep at it and keep going, and by the grace of God, you will also be celebrated. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just run through all of that quickly. So, Mrs. Chukwunonso has said we should keep learning. Knowledge is a ticket and game changer. Keep up your work. Be committed. Trust in God. Mrs. Edi has said. Mr. Ayo has said, leave fear out the door. Exploit the opportunities that are inherent in our industry. The men are actually afraid. So let's go out there and find those opportunities and exploit them. And we also have heard from Mrs. Bridget that consistency again is a game changer. You need to be patient with yourself and celebrate your little wins. Keep pushing, follow the process. Time, will take you to that level. With patience and time, you'll get to the level that you need to get to. Mrs. Funke has re-emphasized that consistency is key. Rome wasn't built in a day. Trust yourself and be willing to put in the work. Not every day is going to be easy, but consistently keep driving yourself. You definitely succeed here. So quickly, we'll take a few questions, please. We'll take a few questions, but before we do that, I have a poll that I want us to quickly take. Do you have your poll ready for the audience? We'll share the link so you can quickly take the poll. Let's hear your views, on some of these issues that we have discussed, and it would help us to better address some of them as we go along in our career. So please take out a few minutes. It shouldn't take you more than 2-3 minutes to complete that poll. So let's take a few questions as they do the poll. Okay, I'm struggling to see. Can you scroll down? Yes. Scroll down. questions? Okay, so we don't have any questions. At this point, I'd like to say thank you very much to speakers. You were all really spot on and have touched on how to, help build, support, encourage women in their quest in their real estate career and indeed in different fields. I'm sure we have a mixed audience here. I am filled with a sense of hope and inspiration after this. I have learned quite a lot. Learning that Mrs. Chukwunoso got all the support that she needed from the men who, were with her at the beginning of her career is really interesting to hear. A lot of women who are, in this audience will probably have fears that men that they come across will not support them. But she is right here telling us that she got support and you can also get support as long as you go out there, find the right networks to infuse yourself, seek the right information, equip yourself with the right knowledge at all points. I'd also like to leave us with some wise words from some of the most inspirational women leaders in history. Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, "Real change, enduring change, happens one step at a time." This quote reminds us that building stronger communities, which is our team, takes time. But every step we take towards equity and inclusivity is a step in the right direction. Also, one from Malala Yousafzai said, "I raise my voice not so that I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. We cannot succeed when half of us are held back." This quote speaks directly to the importance of women's voices being heard in the real estate industry and beyond. And for every woman who has had the opportunity to go ahead, who is doing well already in the industry, to pull another woman up with them. I just want to thank everyone who has stayed with us, from the beginning till this point. Thank you, our amazing audience. Thank you for, being a part of this event. Thank you for staying and waiting it out with us. We've had brilliant discussions, and I believe that together we can build stronger and equitable communities. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Sir. And thank you, Madam Funke. Thank you, Tosin. Thank you, Bridget. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Embrace.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Can we do that before we leave, please? Happy International Women's Day. Embrace equity.
Embrace equity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Sorry. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're not going yet. Can you?
Which one did you buy?
Let's take out the 39. You can take a quick picture, please. Okay.